At 78, Sally Field is finally saying what many suspected, and people are leaning in hard. Her name carries decades of Hollywood heat, but there's always been more under the gloss than most knew. Born Sally Margaret Field on November 6, 1946, in Pasadena, California, she didn't trip into fame by accident. She grew up in the machine and learned its rules fast. Her mother, Margaret Field, acted, and her stepfather, Jock Mahoney, was a headline stunt star with serious swagger. From early on, Sally saw the thrill and the squeeze of showbiz, watching the hustle up close while soaking in the quiet stress that comes with it. Southern California shaped her like a studio backlot, creative, competitive, and always on, teaching her how the game rewards you and how it can take too. Sally popped in the mid-1960s with Gidget from 1965 to 1966, and boom, America knew her face. The series was short, but her easy charm and teen surf vibe went wide, turning her into a living room regular overnight. Then came The Flying Nun from 1967 to 1970, where she played Sister Bertrille, a quirky young nun who literally took flight, and viewers couldn't look away. She carried that wild premise with razor timing and bright sparkle, and the ratings followed. But the box around her got tighter by the week. Studios wanted cute, Sally wanted craft, and behind the scenes, the tension was real. She wasn't chasing bubblegum anymore. She was aiming at roles with bite, respect, and some real weight. So she made a bold pivot and trained at the Actors Studio under the legendary Lee Strasberg, a power move that flipped the script on her career. In 1976, Sybil hit TV, and everything changed, fast and loud. Sally went all in as a woman living with dissociative identity disorder, delivering raw work that shook audiences and critics, risky, exhausting, and completely undeniable. By the late 1970s and through the 1980s, she was in her prime and proving receipts. In 1979, she snagged her first Academy Award for Norma Ray, playing a working-class Southern woman turned labor activist with steel and heart. A few years later, she took home a second Oscar for Places in the Heart in 1984, sealing her status and her speech. "You Like Me Right Now?" became broadcast legend. Across decades, Sally Field moved between film, TV, and stage like a pro with range to spare. From Smokey and the Bandit to Steel Magnolias, Mrs. Doubtfire, and Forrest Gump, she brought warmth, truth, and that gut-punch emotion that sticks. On TV, she stayed sharp, especially in Brothers and Sisters from 2006 to 2011, grabbing another Emmy and showing her longevity wasn't luck, it was skill. Sally Field didn't just conquer Hollywood, she ruled Broadway too. Her return in The Glass Menagerie reminded everyone she could own a stage with pure presence. Years later, she stunned again as Mary Todd Lincoln in Lincoln, 2012, giving a powerful, restrained performance that earned her yet another Oscar nod. Even in her 70s, Sally refused to hit pause. She kept working out of genuine passion, speaking openly about her struggles with doubt, pressure, and identity, something few stars dared to do. That honesty made her stand out even more. Then came her 2018 memoir, In Pieces, where she revealed her emotional highs, deep lows, and hard-earned self-acceptance with fearless honesty. Critics called it raw, real, and unforgettable, just like her best roles. Her personal life drew nearly as much attention as her career. In 1968, still early in her TV fame from Gidget and The Flying Nun, she married Stephen Craig. The marriage brought rare calm in the whirlwind of success, but by 1975 it ended. Even so, that chapter shaped her most important role, motherhood. She and Craig had 2 sons, both pulled into storytelling like it was in their DNA. Peter Craig, born in 1969, grew up on sets and became a respected novelist and screenwriter, writing for The Town, 12 Strong, and Top Gun, Maverick. Eli Craig, born in 1972, followed too, acting, then directing the cult hit Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. For Sally, being a mom wasn't secondary. It was everything. She balanced red carpets with real life, determined to give her boys a normal world amid Hollywood chaos. After her first marriage, she stepped into another headline-grabbing romance in 1976, this time with Burt Reynolds. Cameras couldn't get enough of them. By the late 70s, they were Hollywood's power couple. Charm, fame, and fire all rolled into one. Sally Field and Burt Reynolds weren't just co-stars. They were Hollywood fire. Together, they lit up 4 films: Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, its 1980 sequel, The End, 1978, and Hooper, 1978. Their chemistry was so electric it jumped off the screen, and fans knew it wasn't acting. They ruled the box office and the tabloids, becoming the talk of late 70s fame. But off-camera, it wasn't all charm and smiles. Their strong personalities clashed, and the constant public spotlight made things heavy. After 4 intense years, they split in 1980, though the spark flickered on and off until 1982. Years later, Reynolds called her the one that got away, a confession that said everything. For Sally, the relationship left deep marks, shaping how she saw love, freedom, and her own worth. In 1984, she shifted gears again, marrying film producer Alan Grisman. This chapter brought calm and growth, a different kind of love built on balance. Together, they had a son, Samuel "Sam" Grisman, born in 1987, who chose his own creative lane in writing and directing, away from the Hollywood noise. Sally has always been fiercely proud of him. When Sam came out as gay, she stood strong beside him, speaking publicly about equality and family with the same courage she brings to her roles. Though she and Grisman divorced in 1994, Sally didn't crumble. She rose. Through heartbreak, motherhood, and fame, she carried herself with power and heart, proving her private life was as layered as any performance she ever gave. From her early marriage to Stephen Craig, to her electric years with Burt Reynolds, to her quiet strength with Alan Grisman, each chapter shaped her into the woman the world still admires today. Now, at 78, Sally's voice carries even more weight, honest, reflective, and deeply human. In recent years, she's peeled back new layers of her story, revealing the moments and people who truly touched her life. One revelation that stunned fans was her emotional connection with Robin Williams, the comic genius and co-star who brought Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993, to life. When she spoke about their friendship, people were moved, realizing there was much more heart between them than anyone ever knew. On set, Robin Williams was pure lightning, quick jokes, wild energy, and a vibe that could turn any dull day into chaos and laughter. To the world, he looked unstoppable, always grinning, always giving, always on. But Sally Field later shared that behind the sparkle, there was a quieter, more fragile side few ever saw. She described Robin as warm, kind, and deeply sensitive, someone who used humor not just to make others laugh, but to protect his own heart. Sometimes, when the jokes paused and the set fell silent, she could sense the weight he carried beneath that comic genius. Sally felt a real care for him, especially during those emotionally charged Mrs. Doubtfire scenes. Their trust on camera turned into real connection off it, filled with honest talks and mutual respect. What made her words hit so hard was her truth about how hidden his struggles were. She explained that someone can be surrounded by love and success, yet still feel deeply alone, a reality many overlook. Sally said people assumed Robin's laughter meant happiness, but that image wasn't the full story. She reminded everyone that joy shared with the world doesn't always mean peace within. Her tone wasn't sorrowful, it was compassionate. She honored Robin for who he really was, a gentle soul who carried emotion quietly but deeply. Her honesty reignited much-needed talk about mental health, emotional exhaustion, and the heavy expectations fame can pile on stars. Even decades later, Sally spoke about Robin with warmth, gratitude, and a soft sadness that clearly never left her. Their bond went beyond friendship or fame. It was a connection built on trust, timing, and shared understanding. Now, at this stage in her life, Sally seems done with Hollywood masks. She's all about truth, not image. When she said, "I really loved him, but it wasn't romantic. It was more complicated than that," it hit people hard. A raw confession about a bond that defied labels and stayed forever in her heart. Their unforgettable bond came alive on the set of the 1993 hit Mrs. Doubtfire. Sally Field played Miranda Hillard, the ex-wife of Robin Williams' character, and their chemistry was so real it leapt off the screen. The way they argued, teased, and cared for each other felt authentic, like two souls who truly understood one another beyond the script. Sally later confessed that what audiences saw went deeper than acting. It reflected a layered friendship filled with emotion, laughter, and moments she still treasures and regrets. "I miss him terribly," she admitted. "I know I didn't always say the things I should have said." Those words revealed a heart still touched by his absence. With time, Sally has learned to speak about Robin more openly. He wasn't just a co-star. He was someone she felt emotionally tied to, even if their connection didn't follow a traditional love story. She once said working with him felt like stepping into another universe, where energy, emotion, and brilliance collided. Robin's energy was unmatched. 1 minute cracking endless jokes, the next dropping a line so sincere it froze the room. Sally described how his presence could flip from chaos to calm in a heartbeat, keeping everyone around him in awe. To her, that mix, the joker and the poet, was Robin Williams in full. But she also sensed the weight behind the laughter, the quiet ache hidden under the humor. "I could see the sadness," she recalled, even when he was making everyone laugh. As the years passed, Sally reflected on those moments with both love and guilt, wondering if she could have done more, said more, maybe helped lighten what he carried inside. She often questioned whether Robin ever truly realized how deeply he was loved by the people around him. But her memories aren't just about loss, they're full of gratitude. "I'm so lucky I got to know him the way I did," she shared. To Sally, Robin wasn't only a comedic legend, he was a human being full of heart, kindness, and depth. That's why audiences felt him so strongly. He could make you laugh and cry within seconds, because he lived in both light and shadow. Now, at 78, Sally Field isn't holding back anymore. By speaking these truths about Robin Williams, she's not just honoring him. She's reminding the world how precious real connection is, and how vital it is to speak love before it's too late. Sally Field's words hit hard, about love, truth, and just how fragile life really is. Her reflections on Robin Williams felt both personal and universal, a bittersweet mix of gratitude and regret. She called it both a celebration of his brilliance and a confession of the words they never got to say, a reminder that we shouldn't wait to speak what matters while there's still time. In her memoir, In Pieces, Sally also opened up about a much earlier painful chapter of her life, one few knew about. She revealed that as a teenager she struggled with deep depression that nearly swallowed her whole. It wasn't a simple sadness. It was a heavy emotional storm that touched everything, from her confidence to her sense of purpose. She described those years as lonely and confusing, saying she often felt trapped inside her own mind, unsure how to explain what she was feeling. The weight of growing up, fame, and trying to find herself all collided, leaving her restless and searching for something she couldn't quite name. It wasn't just darkness, it was emptiness, like her soul was fighting to break free from invisible walls. She longed for understanding, peace, and a place to simply be. Looking back, Sally's honesty shows what real strength looks like, not hiding the pain, but facing it head-on. Her story reminds us that healing doesn't come from pretending life is easy, but from admitting when it isn't. She's proof that even through heartbreak and struggle, honesty can turn pain into power.